from right here in Minnesota, was fatally shot today in Manhattan. He was cold. It was cold-blooded murder, and there has not been this much focus on a shooting in Manhattan since I would venture since John Lennon got shot. It has that kind of attention. This fellow was an innocent. Well, we don't know anything. This is a story that'll require 72 hours. Brian Thompson is the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. He stepped out of his hotel this morning to walk across the street to go in a different hotel where he was to preside over a meeting of investors. And a guy very calmly and coldly shot him to death. Pedestrians around, everything. It was very strange. Here is is it the chief?
It just says NYPD. I would assume it's the chief.
Here's the NYPD.
Thank you, Commissioner. The information I'm about to give you is preliminary as our investigation is continuing. This morning at 6:46 a.m., patrol officers from Midtown North Precinct responded to a 911 call of a person shot in front of the Hilton Hotel located at 1335 Avenue of the Americas. This is between West 53rd Street and West 54th Street. At 6:48 a.m., officers arrive and find the victim, Brian R. Thompson, a 50-year-old male, on the sidewalk in front of the Hilton with gunshot wounds to his back and leg. Mr. Thompson was removed by EMS to Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:12 a.m. Mr. Thompson is the CEO of UnitedHealthcare and resides in Minnesota. Detectives from Night Watch, Midtown North Detective Squad, and Manhattan South Homicide responded to the scene and began their investigation. What we know is that the shooter arrived at the location on foot about 5 minutes prior to the victim's arrival. He stands alongside the building line as numerous other people and pedestrians pass him by. From video, we see at 6:44 a.m., the victim is walking alone towards the Hilton after exiting his hotel across the street. We believe the victim was headed to the Hilton Hotel to attend the United Health Group Investors Conference that was scheduled to start at 8 a.m. The shooter appears to be a light-skinned male. He's wearing a light brown or cream-colored jacket, a black face mask, black and white sneakers, and a very distinctive gray backpack. The shooter steps onto the sidewalk from behind the car. He ignores numerous other pedestrians, approaches the victim from behind, and shoots him in the back. The shooter then walks toward the victim and continues to shoot. It appears that the gun malfunctions as he clears the jam and begins to fire again. The shooter then flees on foot northbound into an alleyway between 54th Street and 55th Street. Once at West 55th Street, the shooter continues to walk westbound on Avenue of the Americas, where he gets onto an electric e-city bike and rides northbound on the Avenue of Americas towards Central Park, where at 6:48 a.m. we have the shooter riding this bike into Central Park at Center Drive. At the scene, we recover 3 live 9mm rounds and 3 discharged 9mm shell casings. The motive for this murder currently is unknown, but based on the evidence we have so far, it does appear that the victim was specifically targeted, but at this point we do not know why. This does not appear to be a random act of violence. We are seeking information from the public to help identify the shooter. As the Commissioner said, we have upped the reward up to $10,000 for information. You're urged to contact Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577-TIPS. All information will be kept anonymous. Thank you very much.
What a mystery. Wow. Among my many amateur questions would be, how did the shooter know that his target would be available so early in the morning?
Right.
I would imagine we have covered the biggest cities in the country with so many cameras. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the cameras find the shooter at 5 in the morning waiting or 4 in the morning waiting. I mean, how do you know?
Well, and not to mention if he was camped out in front of a Hilton, they probably even have their own surveillance.
Well, there is footage. I'm on the Star Tribune site. There is footage of him pulling the trigger.
Oh. Yes, it's dreadful.
And riding the bicycle.
And I've got Rookie working feverishly.
His Wikipedia page.
Brian Thompson. He's 50 years old.
University of Iowa in 97. It does not say where he was born or where he grew up. He graduated from Iowa in 97, and he worked at Price Waterhouse from 97 to 2004. And that's basically it. Thompson was married, had 2 children. They reside in Maple Grove.
Okay.
I'm still looking for more.
All right. Maybe
6 blocks south of the Central Park.
What a mystery.
He first started working for United Health Group in 2004 and had previously served as CEO of the company's government programs,
Don't put on your tinfoil hat.
including Medicare and retiree coverage and community and state programs providing Medicaid and other types of coverage to millions of individuals. In his most recent role as CEO of UnitedHealthcare, he was responsible for leading growth across the company's global, employer, individual, specialty, and government benefits businesses, according to a 2021 company statement announcing his appointment.
What was the meeting going to be
It
about?
was an investors meeting.
So was he shot for something he did or something he was about to do?
I wouldn't even venture a guess.
It's got to be something. I would. It's got to be something he was about to do.
Here's a quote. Brian's experience, this is from United Health Group CEO Andrew Witt. He said at the time, Brian's experience, relationships, and values make him especially well suited to help United Healthcare improve how healthcare works for consumers, physicians, employers, governments, and our other partners, leading to continued and sustained long-term growth.
Well, you're going to hear many attempts to solve this by amateurs. I heard today that, well, perhaps it was the disgruntled survivor of a victim of poor health insurance. Well, okay, but
That's pretty deep to find out that he's going to speak at the investors
this
meeting.
Brian Thompson would not have had daily interaction with patients.
Right.
No one would know who he is. I mean, he's a big shot executive, but not so. I mean, he showed up at the golf course on Saturdays this summer by himself. I'm setting a scene. I'm just saying he's not that. He's not known. He's
Right.
not known.
He's
Let's
got
put it that.
one
This
son
isn't Elon Musk, who probably has security.
No, he was specifically targeted.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
His-
I know that. I'm just saying that makes it all the more intriguing.
He's still
because,
pretty anonymous.
because he's essentially an unknown person. All of us here in Minnesota, well, I'm speaking for myself. I had not heard of him until this morning.
I knew Bill
I have
McGuire,
a-
that was it.
Yeah.
Question for you, Columbo. Did the shooter know Brian?
Well, it certainly sounds like it.
Well, he knew what he looked like
It was
anyway.
a specific target, and it's just right out of the Bourne Identity in Manhattan.
You don't think the shooter might have been hired by somebody?
Well, it would be surprising to me to I know nothing. I know nothing.
He has two sons, one that recently graduated, the other attends a public high school in Plymouth, according to the Star Tribune.
Oh.
One of the sons' former coaches, Brandon Carlson, told the Tribune his parents were present around all of the team events, and Thompson's sister, Elena Riviez, told the New York Times he was a good person.
Well, as I said, I'm sure some of us might know guys that know him, but I don't know him.
Humble servant leader and family man, incredible guy.
The wife of Brian Thompson, this is just breaking, according to People magazine. The wife of Brian Thompson, the United Health Group CEO who was shot to death outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel, said her husband had been receiving threats prior to the attack. Thompson's wife, Paulette, told NBC News that she was informed by the New York Police Department that the attack on her husband was planned. Yet, quote, yes, there had been some threats. Basically, I don't know, a lack of coverage. I don't know the details, Paulette Thompson told NBC News. I just know that he said there were some people that had been threatening him. Despite the threats, Paulette says her husband did not alter his travel plans. Quote, I can't really give a thoughtful response right now, she told NBC News. I just found this out, excuse me for the pop-up, and I'm trying to console my children. An NYPD spokesperson said the police responded to a call. We know all that stuff.
That poor family.
Well, the threats, obviously would have something to do with health care, I would think, right?
It sounds like
Or
it.
something was maybe stewing,
I don't,
or
like you said at the outset, Joe, 72 hours.
72 hours.
I don't think it's safe to assume anything, except that his family is really grieving right now.
Right off the bat, I heard he fled on a bike, but an hour later, even that changed. He walked to make his escape and then got on a bike.
Right.
He didn't have a bike waiting there with him. I mean, there's going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of details that are not evident yet. And police are pretty good. They'll figure this out. But it's strange. It is really strange. because I would think this guy, walking the streets of Manhattan, he's terribly anonymous.
Right.
Much less walking the streets of Minneapolis, he would have been terribly anonymous. So this was somebody who knew him, knew he was going to be there, and apparently knew what time he was going to be there.
Well,
Unless it was somebody waiting since 3 a.m.
at least they would have some type of leads if he was receiving those threats via maybe an email address or, well, if it was electronic, we don't know.
It sounds like he spared his wife much knowledge of the threats.
Which is probably what all of us would do, right? You don't want to.
Is that the right thing to do?
Hey, tell the CP you walk in front of me.
You
okay?
better go first.
You walk in front of me.
Is that the right thing to do?
What?
Am I doing the right thing?
What?
Because she noticed that I've started carrying again.
Oh, I think you're doing well. You live up in Oz. I don't think there's a big problem there.
Yeah, I'll forward you some of the emails.
Well, if I had to be on the lookout because of threatening emails, I'm in big trouble. But I don't control anybody's money or health.
Okay.
That's
True.
That could play a role in this.
There is a Daily Mail story that said Brian Thompson was accused of insider trading and fraud by the Department of Justice. Let's see. Last year, the DOJ launched a probe into whether the nation's biggest insurer, led by Thompson, was unfairly restricting competitors and running a monopoly. Whether that has anything to do with this, who knows?
That'd have to be quite a stretch, though, to be so upset. Nobody would be upset about him insider trading.
Really?
No, Matt, they would be.
Yeah.
No, to the point of you want to shoot somebody for that?
Well,
That's what I'm saying. That individual?
Let's leave it at we don't know.
Okay.
Let's leave it at we don't know. I have two very uplifting notes on the heels.
This would be a left turn then.
Well, I don't know where to take this. It's a big deal about which we are as anxious for information as anyone else.
True.
We now know as much as any reporter standing on that sidewalk knows. There's nothing left for us to know yet.
And we'll keep monitoring.
I don't know if the local news gathering institutions will be successful in talking to his wife or his sons or his friends and acquaintances. I have no idea.
Well, you asked the question about why New York, why not? Did you ask that on the air, I think?
Well, I was being somewhat
Well,
just casting.
Isn't the reason to maybe choose a site like New York is because of just how vast and how easy it would be to hide, as opposed to doing it something here in the Twin Cities?
Maybe, sure.
Okay.
Again, all speculation sounds like folly at this point. Big shot CEO for Minneapolis is shot dead in Manhattan. It's an intriguing story.
Yeah.
It's an incredible mystery. I have two wonderful notes, if you'd like them, just to lighten the mood, lighten the load.
Yes,